Hello again. It is June 10th, and I've been having a tough time with my diet. So instead of getting disheartened and upset about it, I wanted to come here and record my thoughts and talk about it, talk it out, get my thoughts out of my head so that I can look back on them and reflect on them. These conversations with myself really help. I've gone back and looked at my videos a few times already, and they've been helping to keep me focused. So I'm hoping that this does the same. The past couple of days have been really, really difficult for me. My eating, I've been under calorie count consistently, but I've been much, much closer to the normal or to the calorie count for the day. Normally I'm 500 to 800 under, and some days I'm getting within 300 calories of my daily goal. Some days I go over by 100 calories, some days I go over by 200, depends. But it's been getting very difficult. I'm getting tired of having a yogurt every morning. I gotta change it up. I'm getting tired of not having the foods that I want. Things like cheesesteaks and cheeseburgers and things that I miss. I had a day that I worked out at the park with my karate class. So that day I allowed myself to get Chinese food. And it was good, but that thought process is what winds up sabotaging me. I sabotage myself. I tell myself, oh, you worked extra hard today, so you can have, this bad food, whether it's a cheesesteak or Chinese food or whatever, a Big Mac. And I excuse myself to fall back into bad habits. And it gets easier and easier to fall back to those bad habits. I had made a chicken stir fry with rice and vegetables that was very low calorie. I think it was 350 or 400 calories for a large size portion. And I had leftover Chinese food, and the Chinese food was maybe 900 calories or something like that. And I opted for the Chinese food because I wanted it. And it was there, and I bought it, and I only ate half of it. I have to give myself credit for that. When I bought it, I made myself only eat half, which is big for me because I usually eat the whole thing and then I regret it later. But I had it there, and I chose that instead of the healthy option. It's getting difficult. It's getting very difficult to keep making good choices. And I just keep reminding myself that even though I want something else to eat, or I want that bad food, it's not going to taste better than my success is going to feel. And my feeling of failure is going to feel far worse than any feeling of hunger or desire that I could have. I keep thinking about that. I keep reminding myself of that. But it's very difficult to stay on track. It's been about 2 weeks now or so. My clothes are fitting a little bit better. My stomach doesn't hang out as far as it did, maybe because it's just not as full. Maybe I've lost a couple pounds. I know for a fact that I was over 300 when I started this, and the last time I weighed myself, I was 295. So I could have lost 5 pounds, I could have lost 6, I could have lost 10, I have no idea. And I really should have weighed myself before I started. But I know where I'm at now. And I know that it's going to get better. I know that this is just a hurdle. But I wanted to come and talk about it because I need that reassurance for myself. I need to make sure I stay focused on my goals. I know that I have the willpower, and I don't want to get into a headspace where I just don't care anymore because I don't feel like doing it. It's a very weird headspace to be where you know you can do something and that something is good for you and you want to do that something, but you just don't feel like putting in the work. It's the epitome of laziness. There's something else there. I haven't figured out what that is yet. Maybe it's low self-esteem. Maybe it's anxiety of failing. I don't know. That's part of what I'll discover on this journey that I'm on. But part of this is being honest with myself when it does get difficult. And not just laying down and forgiving myself. Forgiving myself is important, but it's not a matter of forgive and forget when it comes to this kind of stuff. You have to forgive and keep going. Can't forget what you're focused on. You can't forget your end goal. You have to make sure that you stay true to yourself and stay true to what you want to accomplish and put the work in. Nobody's going to do it for me. Nobody's going to lose the weight for me. Nobody's going to get healthy for me. I have to do it myself. Sometimes it's going to suck. And it's okay. It's expected. And on those days that it's hard, I'll talk about it. And I'll get it out. And I'm trying to be more open with my wife about it, and my family about it, and my friends. And, I have friends checking in on me constantly, seeing how I'm doing. And it's been really nice. It's been powerful. All this stuff going on with the riots and the craziness and the state of the world right now. It's got me in such a bad headspace. It had me in such a bad headspace. I'm better now, but I was really depressed about it for a long time. It's a really crappy place to be. In the state of the world, I mean. And it had me so depressed I couldn't peel my eyes away from all the Facebook videos and videos of protests and all the stuff that I was seeing everywhere. It was just so negative, and it was full of negative energy constantly. My feed was people getting beat up at protests and cops getting run over and people fighting, and it was just all negativity. And thankfully, a lot of the violence, a lot of the negativity is gone, and what's left is the positive message that's trying to be spread, which is important. And I think it's important that we acknowledge what's happening. But for a little while there, it was consuming me, and it was hard. It was hard to deal with. So I'm trying to get back on track. I'm trying to stay focused. I'm trying to keep my mind on my goal. I know that I can see the finish line really far away, but I can see it. I can see it. I can see myself where I want to be. I used to be 190 pounds, 205 pounds, and I was happy. And I got to where I'm at today because I got severely depressed and I started overeating to compensate and never stopped. Eating became my coping mechanism, and I never stopped. And I want to do better. So I'm trying to replace my coping mechanism for when things get difficult, for when I get sad, for when I get stressed. I'm trying to replace eating with something else. And that's one of the reasons for these videos. Maybe it's self-therapy. Maybe it's just talking. Maybe it's getting it out of my mind and out into the ether. But it helps. I've started, I finished my 3D printed Catan build. Starting to get back into foam, crafting with foam, and 3D printing miniatures and painting. So I'm starting to get back into other hobbies. I'm going to be pursuing a certification for my job, and I'm reviewing my martial arts content. So I'm really grasping at anything that's not food. And so far it seems to be working. Like I said, I'm under my calorie count, but it's getting very difficult. It's getting very difficult. But I know I can do it, and I'll get there. And when I do, I'm going to look back on these hard times and be thankful for them, because these hard times are what prove that you can get past them. You don't know that you have the strength to get through the hard times until you're in them and you fight and claw your way through them to the other side. So this is one of those times. And it's going to get easier. It's going to get better. Maybe I'll switch up from yogurt every morning to smoothies. Or, instead of having a yogurt every morning, maybe I'll have an egg. And some days I'll boil it. Some days I'll scramble it. Some days I'll pan fry it. Who knows? That way it just changes up the monotony of it all. I have options. It's not just, I don't have to deal with the monotony. Dieting doesn't have to be this horrible chore. I just got to be careful not to make it that for myself, not to make it into a chore, and not to make it terrible. It's a thought process change. Like I said, I'll get there. But I just want to get my thoughts out, like I said, out of my head and into the ether, and hear my voice, say the things that I say to other people, talking to myself, and making sure that I follow the same things that I tell other people to do, and just don't quit. Don't give up, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how difficult things may feel, no matter how stressed it may be. Don't quit. Don't quit. You will get to where you want to be, and you'll be grateful for these times that you didn't quit. Thanks, and until the next one. See ya.